The Mamabana River Valley saw a change in the production vehicle category lead. Duncan Voss and Henny Tersteege had managed to get their proudly South African Nissan hardbody to the front of the field, followed by production vehicle championship leaders Hannes Grobler and Richard Leek, whose run would come to an end soon after this point. Steel braiding separated from the crimped union on a high-pressure power steering hose, and they were forced to retire. Teammates Janelle de Villiers and Francois Jordan were third and playing a waiting game. With the Team Ford Racing Ranger out of the equation, the Nissans only had to finish to record yet another overall win. All eyes were on Alfie Cox and Ralph Pitchford in the Arnold Chats Cars Nissan hardbody. There was just no stopping the pair's dominance of Class D, and with Grobler and Leek soon to be out of the hunt, they would be third overall. Arnold Duplessis and George Baker's race came to an end when the torsion bar brackets broke on the BB Auto Nissan, which opened the way for Mark Cronje and Chris Birkin in the Castrol Toyota Hilux 2.7i to move into second place in Class D. They were closely followed by the Ford Ranger of KwaZulu-Natal cane farmers, Manfred Schroeder, who was on his first visit to Lesotho, and Jack Peckham, who has raced a motorcycle in the roof of Africa. Hugo and Father Jaap de Bruin had overcome their initial fear of the mountains and were comfortably in the lead in Class E in the Castrol Toyota Hilux, while Paolo Piazzamusso and Rod Herring were fourth in Class D and having a steady run in the Castrol Toyota Hilux 2.7i, despite picking up a puncture. The pair started the season with a class win on the Nissan Dealer 400, but a non-finish on the Nissan Sugarbelt 400 and exclusion on the Toyota 1000 hurt their chances of winning the Class D championship. 1994 roof winners Cliff Barker and Mike Redden brought the MGM Motors Land Rover out of retirement in an attempt to repeat their historic win, but right now they were languishing in 8th place with little chance of winning overall. Henry Zematin had inherited the title of Mr. Consistency from Giel Nel, and he and Bodo Schwegler were 9th overall and 5th in Class D, in the reliable but aging Mastercraft PlayStation Pajero. This was Zematin's 22nd attempt at finishing the roof, as the Lesotho Sun 400 has fast become known. Brothers Yuri and Andre Duplessis were second in Class E in the BB Auto Nissan hardbody, but would be forced into retirement when the suspension collapsed 20 kilometers from the end of the first lap. On the special vehicle front, there was just no catching Mark Corbett and Jean Moore in the Century Property Development's bat. Where Smith and Minute had settled into second place and were over 10 minutes behind the leading bat, with Moore and McLaughlin a further 5 minutes behind the Kopanong Hotel Super Team Jimco, and Harkis and Bevelakwa fourth and a whopping 33 minutes behind the leaders. Alberts and Hunter had got the better of Schilling and Davies and were 5th overall and leading Class S in the Rapsa Raceco. Terence Marsh and Mike Whitehouse had also got lost a number of times in the Nashua Mobile Jimco and were happy to be 6th overall, ahead of Atang Magegeneni and Bux Carolyn in the Total Jimco. Richard Schilling and Chris Davies were 8th in the Plastotech Raceco, but were destined to retire 30 kilometers from the end of the first loop with suspension failure. Clint Gibson and Mike Brown lost 20 minutes when they got stuck in a donga during the time trial. The KwaZulu-Natal pair started 15th and had worked their way up to 9th in the Presidium bat, with Marcus Taylor and Mark de Chalane 10th and the Class B leaders, ahead of Ernest Corbett and Warwick Goosen in the Class B Century Property Development's bat. Corbett and Moore were already in the pits when Voss and Tersteege arrived on the scene.
went well so far. No, it's all right. It went well. Quite tough, but we're there.
De Villiers and Jordan were next to arrive at the designated service point.
It's just survival. I mean, it's not really a race. It's just survival. It's all it is. I mean, you mustn't break your car, and that's all we're doing. I mean, this morning it was terrible. The guy that was in front got lost. I mean, we were four cars together for a long way, but it's difficult to find the route. It should be a little bit easier now, but it's just very rough. It's just got to get the car to the finish.
No, going well. We're leading the race at this point. All bodes well for a good finish.
Don't still sponge. I've got to pump them. But if it's not losing anything, it's fine. Just top up the power steering fluid and let's go. And fill it up. We use too much fuel.
Corbett and Moore were on their way again, but had lost the overall lead to the two Nissans.
Corbett, John, then you. So it's going nicely. Corbett, John, then you.
Giant Killers, Cox and Pitchford were third overall in the production vehicle category.
Yeah, I think today is more survival than anything else. It's you know, I wouldn't call it an off-road race. Very 4x4, but it's going really good. The pickup's given us one puncture only, and we're just soldiering on and trying to get to the finish because that's going to win us the championship, basically, if we can just get to the end. So, yeah, survival today, but we're surviving, and that's the main thing.
And what did Brandon Harkers have to say?
Yeah, we're having a good time, just getting lost all the time. Unfortunately, it's really tough out there, and obviously Claudio's first race, proper race, and very difficult. Every time we get in front of somebody, we get lost, and then we lose 10 minutes and 5 minutes, but it's a hell of a race. Bodies are taking strain, the car's good though, and well, we'll see what the next lap brings. I think a lot of guys are going to fall out second lap.
Atang Macheganeni and Bucks Carolyn were having brake problems on the Total Jimco.
Okay, let go.
Tom, promise you, I forgot how rough this roof is, and I'm finding out again, so I'm not looking forward to doing two of these. But anyway, I've got no choice. I've got to get in this chariot now, so here we go.
The Class S leading Rapsa Raceco was in good shape. Castrol Toyota's Mark Cronje and Chris Birkin were second in Class D and almost 30 minutes behind Cox and Pitchford.
It's amazingly rough. We're just sort of taking it very casually. Quite a few of the guys who were ahead of us have now fallen by the wayside, so it's again just driving for a finish.
You're second in class, fourth overall.
That is very, very, very rough.
Don't go any quicker.
Zane Pearce and Henny Vosloo rolled their Castrol Toyota Hilux, but recovered to grab the Class E lead from the De Brains when a CV joint broke on their Toyota. This was Manfred Schroeder's view of the accident scene.
We hit a rock and punctured the left front tyre, and we lost control, hit the bank and rolled over. Fortunately, Han Mormon and Ned stopped and pulled us upright again, and we managed to get going. It was pretty tough out there, very tough.
The Zarco team had to make some hasty repairs to Hendrik Verree's Class B contender.
Well, the car's holding out. I don't think I'm going to hold that today. The route is unbelievable. I think I've used fourth gear 5 times. It is unbelievable. I'm going to try and make time by 6 o'clock. The car's definitely stronger than me. I don't think I'm going to make it.
No, there's no way I'm going to make a time bar. We had a clean run on the first loop, and it took me 4.5 hours. Just on 5 hours, and there's no way I'm going to make it before 5 tonight. If I calculate my time now, I'm running about 15 minutes, 20 minutes short. Now, I don't know whether you can push up your average speed so much on a race like this. So I don't think it's worthwhile going out for the second loop and then get time bar by maybe 5 minutes or something like that. So I'd rather call it a day. I mean, I don't think it's worth my while going out, you know.